Hey, good morning, folks. Welcome back to the channel. Today I thought we'd go something that we overlook on a daily basis. And this goes for you guys that are just doing your own thing at home to save a few bucks. You one-man band shops or you ones that are employing people. And that's safety. You know, what I've learned in life is things can go south in a hurry. And you can't do a do-over. Once it's happened, it's happened. And people can get hurt really quick, or you can get hurt really quick by overlooking things. Some of the things that you should be implementing or you should be doing on a daily basis is you need to have some kind of eyewear, protective eyewear. When you're grinding, welding, what have you, you need something that's going to keep from hitting you in the eyes. Our shop, we wear safety glasses when we're out in the shop, because you're working with gas, oil, antifreeze, splatters, what have you. Steel-toe boots. Back when I worked at the mines, they would buy us 2 pairs of boots a year. And the ones that were working on the surface, I know that they had this plastic Teflon sneaker, you could get or the low top boots. But while I was working underground, I had an incident where the heavy equipment come down and landed on that steel toe. And it crushed that steel enough so it just come a slight pinch on my toes. Had I not had steel toe boots on, I would have took the full force and probably lost my toes. That quick. Fire extinguisher. You need a fire extinguisher close by if you're doing anything that can create a spark or a fire. And that's handling gas, handling oil, grinding, welding, using torches. Again, things can go south in a hurry if you don't have it. And I recommend getting the fire extinguisher that'll put out anything. There are different levels, one's this, that, and you can pick one of them up at Walmart or Lowe's. It's not that expensive, especially if you ever have to use it in your shop. Grinding stuff with a grinder. Now, this happened to one of our customers about a year ago, and he was trying to save a few bucks, and he decided that instead of having us sharpen his blades, he would do the sharpening, which is fine with us as long as you're doing it safely. But anyways, he took the blades off the mower, and he went out and bought himself a grinder from Harbor Freight, had the disc on it, and he went to grinding on it. He'd never done it before. I'm not sure if he had a wrong angle or what he had, but I've seen it before. The disc disintegrated and shot shrapnel everywhere. And he was not wearing any protective gloves. He was not wearing any protection on his arms, like a heavy shirt or something. And he ended up just tearing his hands right to pieces and bandages all up and down his arms. And I asked him, I said, "Were you wearing safety glasses?" And he said, "Nah." He's lucky he didn't get that in the face. When you're grinding on something, you need to, what I use when I'm grinding, you can laugh if you want, but we have a number of sets of welding gloves, and they are thick and they are heavy, and I use them for a reason. The reason is I've seen these discs explode before. Sometimes they're manufacturing to how you're using it. but I've seen them blow up. I wear protection because with working with the grinder, whether it be a hand grinder or a bench grinder, you're shooting shards of little pieces of metal everywhere. And if you don't have your safety glasses on, it can come right back and hit you in the face. And the last thing you want is to be blinded with a piece of metal in your eye. So what are you guys doing in the shops? What are you guys doing, you do-it-yourselfers, to make sure that your area is safe? Because in itself, you think, well, gasoline, shouldn't cause any safety issues, but it does. I've seen it catch fire. I've seen a friend of mine have burns, third-degree burns on both of his arms where the gasoline followed him back. The fire did when he was put some gasoline on some brush piles. And then you small guys that have like an outbuilding where you store your fuel. And if it's 90 or above, she's getting hot and she's trying to expand. Those fumes in that small building, whether you're smoking a cigarette or you arc for the torches or something like that, can cause an explosion. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to prevent any incident that could happen. So that brings us to, where do you store your combustibles? You don't want to store your gas, oil, and all that stuff close by where you're going to be using the cutting torches, or you're going to be welding, or where you're producing sparks. And one of the big things that I've seen in the past is in shops where they had oil hit the floor and they didn't put any speedy dry down. That will catch fire if you have chunks of metal when you're welding coming down on it. And we've had pieces of equipment on fire when we were welding on it, or using the torches to try to heat and beat, or to cut a nut off, or what have you. Again, things go south. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to make you aware. So you want to store your combustibles away from where you're going to be working when you're cutting torches, grinders, and if most of you guys probably that are doing it yourself, you're in a small outbuilding or in your garage. Just be aware of what's going on around you, and how to store stuff and how to make sure to minimize anything that can go wrong in your shop. And I was talking about the fella with the hand grinder with the disc exploding. A pair of welding gloves that we have here in the shop are heavy duty. They're around here, but they also come right up to here. Had he been wearing that, he'd have had a scare of his life. No foul, right? But he had not even a glove on, and short sleeve shirts, and you can figure out the rest. And my suggestion would be to look at what you're doing on a daily basis. What are you doing in your shop? So you need something that, do you have water available so that if you get gas, antifreeze, something splatters in your face and into your eyes, do you have something you can wash with? Even bottled water is fine. And warm bottled water is fine. So if you have a bottle, that you brought out from the house and set it in your little shop where you can grab it and it's easily accessible, will work. I know for the employers that I work with, that we had over 100 employees, we had the wash stations and the eye washers where you could just stick your face in and it pushed water all around your eyes and stuff. So what are you guys doing when it comes to safety, and what I've probably overlooked? We do a lot. I'm very safety conscious. I was involved in an underground mining accident years ago, and to no fault of anybody's. When you're working underground, it's a risk. It's one of the highest risk jobs out there. But that taught me that things can go haywire in a hurry. And then you sit there and you start thinking about, what should I have done? This. In that case, I was lucky to still be alive. So what are you guys doing in your shops? Are you wearing gloves? Especially when you're working on stuff that has pinch points where you can get yourself pinched. A good set of gloves will help you. And lastly, what are you doing when it comes to security for your equipment and your livelihood and so forth? Now with us, we have 5 cameras. And you can see right over here, that's one monitor. And it's recording all the way around us. So if somebody comes on the property, theft or whatever, it will see it. But I know this day and age, they just get a hand slapping and an ass chewing and put right back out in the street before the good folks of law enforcement can complete the paperwork on them. I know in our area, the ones that are causing theft are the kids that got hooked on these drugs. And I mean, we're very rural, and everybody knows everybody. And the only thing I've ever had stolen from me, knock on wood, was a catalytic converter. And that happened in the dead of night with my shop truck parked down next to the road, and somebody crawled underneath it and took a sawzall to it. They were caught, but they were doing that to get money to buy their drugs. I've always been a person that I will help. Before you steal anything from me, come to me. I will give you the money unless it's to support a bad habit. I will not add to someone that is alcoholic, that's got drug addictions, that kind of stuff. Other than that, come to me, and that way you won't be a thief. And that's worked for me for years. And I've hired some of the kids that they said would never turn out good, and were going down the wrong path, and got them turned around. But that's in the rural setting here. We don't have a lock cage for our customers' machines and stuff. I know as you get closer to the city, it probably gets worse, and of having to lock things up so they don't walk away. So maybe you guys that are closer to the cities and stuff, maybe you can input what you guys do to keep your equipment and customers' equipment safe from theft. It's a good investment. Here in New York, we had to put signs up, for folks like myself that have concealed carry. And I don't know why we need to put signs up, but they made us put signs up so that my shop, anyways, anybody that has a pistol permit that is concealed carry can carry their firearm in and out of my shop. That's fine. So I'd like to hear from you guys on what your thoughts are and what you're doing in your shop that I may have overlooked that would help that guy that would help you that's doing home repairs by yourself and not thinking about this stuff. All right, on that note, I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks so much for watching. And then on a side note, before I forget, we're going to start doing some farm tractor videos. And as of yet, I don't know how to bleep out cuss words. And I'm going to tell you right now, my mechanic, when he gets mad, he starts swearing like a drunken sailor. So I may have to shut the audio off just so you can see how we're doing stuff. And he's hilarious, but anyways, thanks so much for watching.